Math 76, Lesson 12, Place Value Through Trillions, Multi-Step Problems. So this video is going to focus on multi-step problems. Place value through trillions, I cannot speak properly today, can be found on page 53. So if you're having trouble on that, turn in your book back to page 53. You've got this great little chart right here that will explain it for you. That is also something we'll be going over in class. Now what I will spend time on this video in is multi-step problems. So multi-step problems are problems like this, where they'll ask you, what is the difference between the product of 6 and 4 and the sum of 6 and 4? So there's kind of a big wordy sentence here. There's a lot of mathematical words like difference, product, and sum. And what they pretty much mean by multi-step problems is we have to solve multiple parts of this problem before we can find the final answer. And the key to solving that is understanding these words right here, which I should have already told you by now that you need to memorize, which are sum, difference, product, and quotient. So these are some very important words in math. Sum being the answer when two numbers are added, difference being the answer when two numbers are subtracted, product when they are multiplied, and quotient when they are divided. So let's go ahead and take that knowledge and examine this sentence here. They want to know what is the difference. So what does difference mean we're going to be doing? Subtracting. So difference means we're going to be subtracting. So I'll take this word difference, and I know I'm going to be subtracting two numbers. I do not know what those numbers are, so I'll go ahead and put some blanks here. Right? So I'm going to be subtracting two numbers. I need to find the difference between the product of 6 and 4 and the sum of 6 and 4. Now this is confusing because there's three ands in here. But if you remember sentence structure, we're looking for the difference between the product and the sum if we remove the numbers. So I want to know what the difference is between the product, so product being a multiplication number. So when I'm subtracting the answer to the multiplication problem from the answer to the addition problem. Right? And let's color code this actually. So product will be here in blue, and sum, the addition, we'll make that one orange. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm finding the difference of these two problems. Now the product, I can go ahead and fill in the blanks here. So the product is also going to have two blanks on either side of it, and that's going to be the numbers 6 and 4. So I'm multiplying 6 and I'm multiplying 4. Now for the sum, I'm adding two numbers, so 6 and 4. I'm going to put those in my blanks for the sum, 6 and 4. And this is a good way to set up the problem. So you look for your keyword, want to find the difference between this and the sum between this. So in this case, my difference ended up being between two answers, so I had to have two long blanks on either side of the subtraction sign. And from here, I can go ahead and start solving. Now when you solve these, you don't want to typically, the way you solve these is when you have a number like product or sum, you kind of want to put them in their own set of parentheses. So the product is going to be its own number, and the sum is going to be its own number. So I kind of have to figure out what these are first. So let's figure out the product of 6 and 4. So 6 times 4 gives me 24. So I now know the product. Yay! After that, let's figure out what the sum of 6 and 4 is. So 6 plus 4 gives me 10. So I have now identified my product, which is 24. I know what my sum is. My sum is 10. So now if I were to insert these back in the sentence, I'm now finding the difference between 24, which is the product, and 10, which is the sum. So all I have to do now is subtract 10 from 24. So to find the difference, I take 24 minus 10, and I get an answer of 14. All right, so my final answer is going to be 14. Now, some of you may still be confused, so don't worry, I've got another example, and the book will also word them slightly different. But the key things you want to latch onto are these words difference, product, sum, and sometimes they'll have the word quotient in there. And just remember, whenever they throw out one of these words, one or more numbers is going to be involved in that word. So once I finished solving, I found out that the difference was in fact 14, which was my final answer. Now let's go on to one more example problem. This one says, when the product of 6 and 4 is divided by the difference of 6 and 4, what is the quotient? So this one's worded a little bit backwards, but I can still use the same method that I used above. So I'll go ahead and take the word product. I'm going to underline that in blue. My numbers are going to be 6 and 4. Okay, that is being divided by the difference. We'll make difference green. Being divided by the difference of 6 and 4. Okay. And I need to know what is the quotient. So quotient will make purple, right? Because that's the answer we're actually looking for. So the problem wants to know what is the quotient. Quotient being the answer to the division problem, and the key word here that they slipped in is divided. So let's start off with the product of 6 and 4. So product means I'm going to multiply. My two blanks are going to be 6 and 4. 6 times 4 gives me 24. So I now know the product is 24. So when the product is divided by the difference, what is the difference of 6 and 4? Difference means I'm going to subtract. I've got two blanks to figure out what numbers I'm using. That is 6 and 4. So 6 minus 4. And you'll notice whenever you do difference, typically in most math books, and if you know your numbers correctly, when you do difference, the first number will always be subtracting the second number. Typically. In this book, that will always be true. I don't know if that'll be true in every single math book you use, but I know in this math book, whenever they say difference, it's always first number minus second number. So 6 minus 4, that gives me 2. Okay? So now that I've got my difference and I've got my product, I need to find the quotient. So the quotient of 24 divided by 2. So now all I do is make a division table. I've got 24 being divided by 2. 2 goes into 2 once. And then 2 goes into 4 twice. Oops, forgot to bring down the 4. And that goes in perfectly 12 times, which hopefully you already knew from your division tables. But in case you didn't, we got another practice on the algorithm. So the quotient is equal to 12, which means my final answer is 12. If you guys have any questions, let me know on the school website. If not, I will see you in class.